All right, we're getting into running backs right now, Wolf. We got, I think, 37 minutes till kickoff, so we should be able to, if we fly through these, get a lot of questions. Running backs, guy you're higher on, Kyren Williams going against the Eagles. You got him at 8. That's 4 up from the experts. You know, you're starting this guy no matter what. I love this stat that's right under him. Basically, you know, he finished RB 29 in week 3. Other than that, he has not been lower than RB 6. I mean, this is a true workhorse. I mean, like, you know, this guy's the real deal. Wolf's probably not going to have to sell him too much. But anyway, he's on the list. Jaleel McLaughlin, who we have also talked about, who I wrote a piece on, which, again, the Wolf and CJ helped me out with a little bit. But RB 26, you like him 6 higher than the experts. And those are your 2 guys. So anyway, why don't you go on them?
Yeah, you said workhorse for Kyren. Most routes, most snaps among running backs, even more than Christian McCaffrey at this point on the year. And honestly, he's not that far away from what McCaffrey's doing. I mean, obviously, after that 50-point day, there's been some distance, but he's the running back 3 in fantasy right now, getting ranked as a fringe RB1 guy. I know I probably don't need to have money, but I've had some 10-team leagues question me about him. And some of the guys that he listed below is just blowing my mind. And I get it, Philly, great front 7, good D-line, but the fact that he has the most routes on the team makes him matchup proof. It doesn't matter if he can't run right up the gut on these teams. And you saw this team, the Philly team, almost score 2 touchdowns to Brian Robinson last week. And this guy, Kyren, has scored 2 touchdowns in 3 of his 4 games so far. So I think there's absolutely high upside here. We've seen it time and time again with McVay finds that guy. It was never Cam Akers, but before him, Todd Gurley. What do you have, like a 27 touchdown season? He loves to run it in the red zone there. So I think Kyren's a great bet to find Van Zone at least once, maybe even twice, while hauling in 5-6 balls. Just a no-brainer. To me, it's just more so to highlight the fact that ranked ahead of him right now, DeAndre Swift, Devon Etienne, who I love. I get it. Brian Robinson's great matchup tonight. Travis Etienne, though, ahead of him. I mean, what are we talking about? Joe Mixon ahead of him? Come on. James Cook. What are we doing? Like, these guys should not be out of Kyren Williams.
And so I agree. I mean, you're starting this guy regardless, though, but you actually do have Etienne as the first guy on your lower list. But real quick, talk about Jaleel McLaughlin, and we'll get into that.
Yeah, I think even if Javonte plays, you can get Jaleel McLaughlin into your lineup. Here, the Jets, yes, a scary pass defense, at least against the receiver position, but very good pass matchup for the running backs. 6th most targets allowed to running backs, 8th most receiving yards allowed to backs. Then if you do that schedule adjusted with fantasy points, they're actually top 5 in both those metrics. 11th most total points to the position, given some of that, and the 5th most rushing yards allowed to running backs as well. And as mentioned, Sean Payton says, I'm a big fan of Jaleel McLaughlin. I'm proud of how he's playing. One of those guys I'm constantly eager to get going. He's constantly eager to learn. He played well. He played really well. And Sean Payton, he's a guy of pride too. This is his hand-picked, undrafted free agent guy that's just thriving. You wrote about him, the all-time leading rusher in NCAA history. The kid just gets it done. 104 yards last week on only 10 touches, 2 touchdowns so far on the year on such minimal usage. Was a preseason monster, the #1 ranked PFF runner in the preseason. Touchdown in every single game, 4 touchdowns across his 3 games. The guy's a playmaker. He's getting put in position to make plays. And even if Javonte is out there, I think McLaughlin's going to out-touch him and out-produce him.
We go to lower. We already touched on 2 of the 3 of these guys. Travis Etienne is ranked by the Wolf at 12, which I actually still think is high. But
I might bump him down. Yeah.
The experts have him at 8. Also, Rhamondre Stevenson, I'd say for obvious reasons, going against the Saints. He's RB 25 by the Wolf. That's only 3 spots lower than the experts. And then last but not least, we actually talked about him as well. Miles Sanders at Detroit. You got him at 31. The experts like him at 26. What do you have to say that has not been said yet about those guys, and what do you want to say about Rhamondre?
Yeah, Buffalo's sneakily actually been a more of a run funnel than a pass funnel. The worst matchup for quarterbacks, a middling matchup for running backs. But the only time that's really because they gave up 25 points to Devon Achane. They had those couple big runs given to Breece Hall, so they are susceptible to the big play. But Travis Etienne has not been making big plays, at least not like what he was doing last year. He's under 4 yards a clip. He's just getting fed the rock. He's got a good opportunity, good role. He's not doing a ton with it, though. So this is more so in those shallower leagues where I'm getting Etienne versus Kyren. It's Kyren 10 times out of 10. For me, Rhamondre Stevenson, speaking of poor yards per carry, 2.7 on the season. He does not look like he has any of the juice we had last year. And now he's only on 10% of the targets on the season so far. He was beefed up with a near 20% target share last year. That's what really helped him out. Plus, we got Zeke mixing in the red zone area. He's seen his snaps go up 3 straight weeks, 40% last week. And this is a bottom 7 matchup For the Saints here, not a good spot. Derrick Henry with 12.9 in week 1 is the only running back that's ever gone over double digits points against them so far this year. So I do not like Rhamondre to get his season back on track, really ever, but it's certainly not in this week. And then Sanders, just know it's a week where you're desperate for starters and so many bye weeks. Bottom 5 matchup for a guy that's not healthy, that was out-snapped last week by Chuba Hubbard, only 4.7 points. Your Chuba Hubbard only put up 7, but that was significantly better, 40 rushing yards compared to 19 last week. I don't think there's any world where I trust Miles Sanders. I'd rather have Chuba Hubbard in my lineup if I had to go to one of these guys, and that tells you you shouldn't have either of them in your lineup.
And Chuba Hubbard's actually one of your Hail Marys.
Yeah, so I guess if you really need it, yeah.
Right. Tyjae Spears, 24% at Indianapolis, and then Chuba Hubbard, 28% owned, although the Wolves' endorsement of him a second ago was not exactly a ringing one.
It's very lukewarm. But the thing with both these guys, and kind of if I'm desperate for a Hail Mary, especially at the running back position where I have to plug someone in, I really search for those handcuffs with benefits. Something happens to Miles Sanders, that groin just finally gives way for him, and he's out for multiple weeks. Chuba Hubbard will be a top 15 running back as long as he's a 3-down horse. We've seen it before. He's already out snapping him, already producing him these last couple of weeks. At a certain point, it's going to happen for Miles Sanders. That injury is worse. And I'm not trying to sound like I'm rooting for an injury. It's just going to happen. That groin's going to break down, and Chuba Hubbard will have a 3-down back role sooner than later. So when you have these guys that you're tossing in your lineups, who could be better than a handcuff than Tyjae Spears? He's going to get you a little bit of receiving work. His most touches of the season coming off of last week with 5 carries, 40 yards, another 3 catches, 4 targets. That's solid 9 opportunities. It's not great, but when we're desperate right now for whatever we can get, and then you have that upside. If something happened to Henry, then you've got an RB1 moving forward on the rest of the season. That's what I look for in my plug-in Hail Marys, especially at the running back position. Guys that could get you something this week, but really, you're also stashing them for the upside if something happened, that contingency upside. What is up, you fantasy wolf? Thanks so much for tuning in. If you haven't already, share your thoughts in the comments, check out some more videos, and join the newest Wolfpack by subscribing below.